Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria have confirmed that the old Port Harcourt Refinery is operational. This confirmation came after a tour of the facility by union leaders to assess its operations. During the visit, the Executive Vice President, Downstream of NNPCL, Isiyaku Abdullahi, informed the delegation that the new Port Harcourt Refinery is now 90% complete. Labour leaders warned against the privatization of the Port Harcourt Refinery, calling for adoption of the NLNG model, where the federal government and international oil companies can jointly manage the facility. The operational status of the refinery has been a subject of controversy, with some expressing skepticism about its functionality. The Labour Union delegation includes representatives from the NLC, the TUC, NUPENG and PENGASSAN.
When there was increase in pump price of petroleum products, part of that agreement was that this station must work. And we have made efforts to emphasize it repeatedly. And now that it is working, it is our duty to come here to confirm that it is working. One area is already in operation. And we went on this tour with us that the new one is still under construction. Almost there.
Having been taken around, and I saw the massive investment that was made here, I believe too that selling this entire project, to some individuals will not be to the interest of Nigerians. The NLNG model should be adopted in running, this refinery, and not a wholesale at all.
We come here today to reconfirm this. It's also in our, when anybody talks to us, it is not, we are not reporting from a position of, we were told. We will not be reporting from a position of we came and we saw, and that is where we are today. So don't blame Nigerians. It's erosion of trust over the years.
And TVC News senior reporter Helen Osamede-Akins joins me on the news for more updates. Helen, this has been, again, like we mentioned earlier, a subject of controversy, the operational capacity and the functionality of the refinery. Give us an update or an overview of that visit and, some of the things that the Labour leaders found out.
All right, so Precious, today it was more of a confirmation of the announcement of NNPCL sometimes last week, where they made announcement of the old refinery now upstream. You know that announcement generated so many controversies, where some people had come up to say it is not working, and they also alleged that we are not refining, we are only blending. But the NNPCL leadership were able to give their own side of the report. They made some clarification, but as a form of clarification, as a form of confirmation, Labour leaders today, comprising of NLC, TUC, PENGASSAN, and NUPENG, all took a tour to the refinery. And getting there, after briefing the journalists, they took a tour of the refinery. They saw the level of activities ongoing. They saw the control room where activities that happen in the refinery take place. And then they also confirmed that what they see today, it's more like a brand new refinery, because most of the facility in the old refinery were changed and they are almost like a brand new refinery, and then they really appreciate it. And they also, in the process of going, they took a stop at the new refinery. Recall that last week the presidency had released a statement that work is ongoing at the new refinery, so which they also confirmed. They saw that work is ongoing, and then the NNPC official confirmed that the work in that new refinery has reached a 90% completion, which is a good news for them and even for every Nigeria. And what this means is that we're going to have more crude oil produced in our nation, Nigeria. It's going to reduce the pressure on forests. It's also going to see that Nigeria exports more and reduce the importation of crude oil. And exporting more will mean more money for the country, although they confirmed or they made it clear that even if they are going to export, they have to make sure that there is enough in Nigeria for Nigerians before exporting. So it was a good one, which all the parties who visited who took a tour, confirmed that it is now working, and we are hoping, or they are hoping, that with this confirmation, it will put a rest to all the arguments and doubts out there that the refinery is not working. Sorry.
And Helen, we know that there was a visit earlier. This is the second delegation to that refinery. The first one was from the presidency, with the Bayo Onanuga himself, who is the one of the spokespersons for the presidency, confirming that it was working. But I also wanted to ask you, because this one is very important. This was part of the the issues raised during the signing of the new minimum wage, that the refineries work. But did the labor leaders have any concern? Did they raise any further issue?
Yes, they did, Precious. And one of those issues they raised was the maintenance of the refinery. They are concerned that we have to put measures as a country in place to ensure that this refinery do not go back to the default setting like what we have today, where the refinery packed up since 2019 was not working. So they want the government to put measures in place to ensure that we do not return to such situation. And then secondly, the issue of privatization. There have been calls all over that immediately these refineries are all working, the government should put it for privatization. But their concern is that putting it to privatize it is not the issue. It should not even be said today. They gave instances of some Nigerian facilities assets that have been given out for privatization that never saw the light of day, and some of them were even abandoned. They never gave them out for privatization, and they were abandoned like 90. So what they are actually calling for, instead of privatizing it, why not do what we have in Nigeria liquefied natural gas, where the federal government have 41% ownership of the NLNG, and then the IOCs have the remaining 51%. They believe that with that, it will be managed appropriately and for the growth of the nation.
We'll see how things go on. We'll know that you mentioned the 150,000 capacity, but also being rehabilitated. We'll see how all of this pan out. Thank you, senior reporter Helen Osameh-Dakins, live for us in the nation's capital. Let's turn to other stories now. The Nigerian Navy has